Starting on your right down here, Julianne. Right down here in the center. Yeah. Straight in front of you. Right down here like that. Right here. Right down here a little to the left.
Ladies, bring it down. Right here.
Right back here.
To me, right here.
Everybody, Caroline, you're okay. Right down here like that. Julianne. Way to your right. You can ask. Great guys.
Okay, guys.
You can just get through that.
Ask her.
Right.
Of someone up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the camera. And right down here like Here we go, right down here. Shoulder back here. Right down here. Look at my light.
Come all the way down. Can I get eye contact first?
Well, I hardly think of myself as an innovator. I mean, honestly, like one of the things I was going to say tonight in my speech is I've been doing the same thing for a pretty long time, which is act, you know. But I think that is that keeping your work interesting and being involved in it and keeping things fresh and being involved in the world, all of those things continue to move you forward. In that sense, that's a kind of innovation. So I'm very thrilled to be a part of this really great group of people. I think a problem solver. I mean that's my take on it. I mean that's kind of one of my things. I always think like, what is the problem here? How do I fix this? How do I address it? I think I do that in my work and in my life, and that's what keeps things interesting.
I think it just means to, do things a little bit differently. To sort of forge ahead and think about things differently than the status quo. I think they're both. I mean, they can be both. I think, when you innovate, very often you go against the status quo and it disrupts things. But I think that's very often what needs to happen to actually change and move things forward.
Innovation is for me, is actually the most important one because, in fashion we can make beautiful clothes, beautiful bags, but sometimes, we can take in risk and helping other people, helping future to get it better. For me, innovation is that, do things for other people and taking risk. Depends who you're talking to, but I'm probably troublemaker, but I'm solving people problem.
Well, it's not Eddie Murphy. Because when you innovate, you do something that then other people can do it. What he's done, nobody can do, and nor will they ever do. It's a person who's kind of likes the unknown and likes a little risk and likes comfortable with failure. That's an innovator. Comfortable with failure.
It's tight because I don't think I'm an innovator at all. I don't think I've done anything really special other than come and create from an honest place and do something that I personally felt and loved right here. And to be recognized for that, no matter if it changed anyone's life or it didn't, I think that itself is like, wow, that feels great.
I feel like innovator is anyone that's doing something that may not be popular or known for people, known at the time, but who thinks about something that could be great in the future. People that are the first to do things. I think those are true innovators. I mean, I think MJ is an innovator, especially with the show Pose. I mean, really a first show of its kind. And I think they have to be both, because to solve certain problems, you have to get in certain troubles. It's always it's like the design process. You have to make your mistakes in order to get to the perfect result. It really takes people with a voice, and really takes people who are disruptive to make that difference.
What is my definition of innovation? I think it has always been, for me, it's always been people who have found ways to do a new thing within an old thing, because that's fundamentally all we're existing in. Problem solver is generally how people would think of it, but problem maker could be a good problem maker. What problem are you creating, or what conversation are you starting, rather, as opposed to creating a problem. And so for me, when I think of those people, I don't think of them as problem makers per se. I think of them as conversation starters, if anything. I think of them as people who shake up the status quo and how we do what we do.
I guess it's, I equate innovation and change, and just sheer creativity. I think both. Problem solvers and problem makers, but I think they point out a lot of issues as well. And you know what? I have never been more inspired than being at one of these dinners with the innovators that are here.
Well, I think it's the ability to get close enough to something that you can see things that maybe others haven't seen, and you can hear things that cause you to maybe do things a little differently. Innovation has yielded both new opportunities and new challenges. It's what we do with it that I think ultimately determines whether it's adding to the justice quotient or contributing to more problems. Well, I think we're at a point where we're really kind of having a reckoning. We have not talked about a lot of critical issues for a very long time, and I think our silence has caused us to continue to be burdened, polarized.
I would say I'm more of a disruptor. I like to make people uncomfortable in order to change the way forward. I really like to use my work as somewhat of protest art to make commentary on our institutions, the racism that exists, the inequities that exist in the world, and hopefully be a part of creating change.
A true innovator is someone who sees how the world should be, not just being happy with the way it is. So I like to think of them as, problem makers. I think they shake things up, they push things forward, and they truly move things in a way for good.